Tanuj, please introduce yourself.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. So, hi, my name is Tanuj Sharma, and I'm from NLU, Odisha. And this is probably my first Turncoat debate. So, I usually am, you know, acquainted with the parliamentary presidential forms. I guess that is probably going to be a better experience for me and for others as well. So, good to go. Good luck as well.
That was great. Following up to Tanuj, may I please request Kritika to introduce herself?
Hi everybody, I am Kritika and I am from Dr College of Science and Commerce, Mumbai. And I have been to a lot of debate competitions. I have organized a lot of debate competitions, and I guess this is like the first time I am doing it over internet. So it's kind of, you know, I don't know the proper adjective, but okay, you got it.
Can anybody else introduce himself or herself? Gorika, can you introduce yourself, please? Gorika, am I audible? No, Gorika, we cannot hear you.
Sorry, my mic wasn't working.
It's okay.
So thanks, Gaurika. This is probably my first debate competition, and I'm really not into all this. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. Divyansh, would you like to introduce yourself?
Divyansh would love to.
He's not doing it, actually.
I'll just spin it.
Hi, Divyansh this side. I'm from National Law University, Odisha. I'm a novice debater. I haven't been to much competitions, but like learning, like the learning guy or something. So this is like, I hope this turns out to be some good debate. And yes, Tanuj, you can ping me on WhatsApp now.
Cool. Good to go.
Okay. Following up to Divyansh, may I please request Vedant?
I think there are people. I think there are people who are new to this debate, and there are people who have been into a lot of learning. So, can we share? Can you share your experiences, Tanuj, Kritika, Divyansh?
Or anybody?
Yeah. I feel like Divyansh should just first introduce himself about his world of debating, like to how his learning has shaped himself for the past 1 year that he's been debating into various competitions. So, Divyansh, please throw some light to this upcoming competition.
I really like you being motivating him throughout. That's really encouraging.
Yeah. That's Tanuj for you. Like He's always motivating. The guy who took me, who inspired me for debating.
But we
Just
want to
like-
know what Divyansh for all of us. We've known what Tanuj is.
Yeah, please, Divyansh. Go for it.
It's like, as I told you, I'm just a novice debater. We all been learning like from our seniors, from like a little 1 or 2 debate competitions that I've been into. There is Yogesh sir. He's also here. It's like he's our mentor, we can say. Yogesh sir, probably Prajwal sir would be joining in too. But like the mentors, like the godfathers are debating in our college. So like it's good to be in this competition with them.
Also, may I please request all of you to please switch on your cameras. It will be better to interact with you all that way.
Niharika and Charanjeev, I guess enough participants have joined, so you can start the debate.
Okay. So I warmly welcome you all to this Turncoat Debate competition, and we are extremely glad to have you on board with all of us. And now I'd like to invite our esteemed judge for today, Dr. Bhavya. She's an assistant professor at IGDTUW, Indira Gandhi Delhi Technical University for Women. And she's an associate professor here. She has pursued her PhD in English literature, and her areas of expertise are communication studies, professional studies, business communication, soft skills, feminist literature, and diaspora fiction. Welcome, ma'am. Also, now I'd like Charanjeev to take over and enlighten you all about the Turncoat Debate. Charanjeev, over to you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to introduce the term turncoat to you first. It is an interesting format of debate in which you have to flip sides. The rules are simple. You'll get 3 minutes to speak, 1 minute to speak for, 1 minute to speak against the motion, and 1 minute for rebuttal. You'll be given a motion and 7 minutes to think over it and frame your point. Then you'll have to start speaking for the motion for 1 minute, for the motion for 1 minute. After speaking 1 minute, you'll hear a tap. You have to change your stance now and start speaking against the motion. As soon as you are given a stance, you have given a stance, think over it and in the format of cause, effect, solution. And once you change your stance, try to speak the opposite points you just spoke. For example, I spoke a point in favor of the topic. I would encourage if you would try to think out the opposite point and speak up the right thing. And a friendly advice to you all, try not to participate to win, but to learn. Everything becomes actually rewarding when you learn. So I'll just briefly discuss the judgment criteria. You'll be marked on content, which carries 20 marks. Physical presence, that is your body language, your eye contact, 10 marks. Voice and articulation, 10 marks again. And the language, the way you use your language, 10 marks again. So I think we can begin. I'll allot the topics.
Can you all just give a sort of yes or thumbs up so that we can begin?
Is everyone ready? Shall we?
Guys, this is a debate. You need to respond. Okay. Charanjeev, allocate the topics.
Yeah, sure. 1 second. So my first topic is, does social media improve or impede communication? And this is for who's this? I don't know. C302.
Can you repeat the topic, please?
It is, does social media improve or impede communication? Does social media improve or impede communication?
Does social
You have 5 minutes to ponder on the topic and then you may start.
May I correct you, Niharika? They have 7 minutes.
Okay, sorry, you have 7 minutes.
So right after those 7 minutes, I have to go on speaking.
I'll
Yeah.
first share the topics to everyone. Okay, you can begin. You can take. I'll start your 7 minutes. Till then, I share the topics for everyone.
Okay.
Aditi, may I give you a topic? Aditi, are you in? Yeah, okay,
Sure.
great. So your topic is animal testing should be banned. I hope it was clear. Animal testing should be banned.
Okay.
Okay, Anusha, would you like to? May I? Am I audible, Anusha? Okay, Ayushi? Ayushi? Divyansh? Divyansh, shall I share your topic? Okay,
Yeah, sure.
okay. So it is feminism relevant in 21st century? I hope you heard it.
Yeah. Do we have to pair with someone?
No. You'll just have to speak 1 minute for, 1 minute against, and 1 minute for
Okay.
rebuttal from any of the participants.
Okay, so like, is feminism relevant in the 21st century?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So what if someone does not ask a rebuttal? Can we take the third minute for continuing with the speech?
If you really want to, you can.
Okay.
Gaurika, may I suggest your topic?
Yes, Charanjeev.
Yeah. So it is liberalism an independent choice or its misuse?
Can you please repeat the topic once?
Liberalism an
Yes.
independent choice or its misuse?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Glory,
Yes, Charanjeev.
so your topic is, should
Um,
the minimum drinking age in Delhi be modified? I'll repeat. Should the minimum drinking age in Delhi be modified?
Thank you.
okay. So can you please give us a reminder when the 5 minutes of preparation are over?
Yeah, sure, I'll give.
Thank you.
Jeet, Jeet, okay. Kritika,
Yes, I'm there.
so your topic is, does every person who believes in equality follows feminism? Does every person who believes in equality follow feminism?
Oh,
आ रही हूँ 5 मिनट में.
Again, may I please request all of you all to please turn on your cameras?
Tanuj,
Yes, yes.
Your topic: queer community should have access to adopt children and donate blood. Queer community should have access to adopt children and donate blood.
To adopt children and donate blood, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Just one clarification here.
yeah.
Like, how can you just tell me little bit of overview how that 3 minute, the 3rd minute of rebuttal is going to work?
Sorry.
How that 3rd minute of rebuttal is going to work? Like, if like how someone is going to ask me a question, then I'm going to respond to that question. Like, if even if it doesn't happen, then like what should be done?
Uh, it will go this way. I'll I'll notify you. You'll hear a tap. Whenever your 2 minutes get over,
Okay.
then you are open for rebuttal. And
Okay.
if any participant doesn't ask question, you may encourage the participants to ask any questions. Or if he or she doesn't, you may speak if you want to, or we may end.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Good.
Yogesh, your 5 minutes are up.
Okay, thanks.
Jeet,
Yogesh,
Yes,
you may please start speaking.
5 minutes. There are 7 minutes, I guess, right, for preparation. She just said the 5 minutes are over. So how can 2 minutes be so quick?
okay. Let me list out the topics first. Shruti. Shruti, are you there? Okay. Vedant.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
So may I?
Yes, ma'am.
So it is opening of lockdown, debating lives versus economy.
Opening of lockdown.
Debating lives versus economy.
Sure, ma'am.
Is everyone done? Has everyone been given a topic? Jeet?
Let me know when to start.
Yeah, sure.
Shall I start now?
1 second.
Just let me know when to start.
Yeah, yeah, sure. You may start.
Okay. So my time starts now. Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. I would start off with a very basic fact, which is what is communication. So we all know that communication is something to sharing of information, sharing of ideas, or sharing of in general anything that may occur in our regular life. And as to how the communication is the key aspect and prospectus of social media, are based on four basic facts. Number one, that we live in a social media generation. We live beyond borders. We live in a generation where we have the access to internet, where we have the power to bring about any change through social media revolution, and we can call ourselves a social media generation. And we tend not to identify us as any individual entity, but we tend to identify ourselves with a people who can bring about a substantial change through social media. Secondly, we don't live in the society that we used to live in anymore. Now we live in a virtual society. When I say virtual society, I clearly mean to tell and indicate towards the fact that the society that we used to live in 20 years back was a society where we used to personally interact. But now, since we have this era of commercialization, people are moving towards the corporate culture, and we have this cutthroat competition. People really do not have the time to personally communicate with people. So this virtual society that we have created through social media platform becomes a key communicator for our daily lives, and in perspective to the ideas and informations as well. Thirdly, this is the era of globalization. As I have already told you, that we do not live in separate individual, we do not live as separate individual entities, but we live as common groups. We live as common, as a common idea. We live as common community, and that is how it becomes easier on part of others to identify what my idea is, what my identity is, and what sort of information shall I be communicated to. And this becomes very easily possible through social media. And lastly, this gives us freedom to communicate without boundaries. 20 years back, it was quite impossible to even imagine that there would be a person who can be communicated in Pakistan, there would be a person who can be communicated in United States of America. But now, today, people can be communicated throughout the world and beyond the boundaries. That is why social media improves the communication. Now, this idea of social validation, right? This idea of social communication has turned into social validation. People do not communicate here anymore, but people try to put forth their idea of superiority that exists through their posts, that exists through their ideas, that exists through their information. And that is how it has moreover turned into an idea of social validation, but in an idea of communication. And that is how the communication is hindering, and people are trying to validate their identities, their ideas, their information through social media. And lastly, this becomes, is there any rebuttal? Hello? Hello?
Anyone would like to question something?
Or shall I continue?
You may.
Okay. So, as I already told you, that people go after likes, people go after the number of followers, people go after what sort of brand they are wearing, and people make sure that the world outside gets to know about what sort of brand they are wearing, what sort of food they are having. So it is more of a social validation format where people compete against each other in terms of the property they own, in terms of the idea they own, in terms of the lifestyle that they own. But it's the lesser you communicate, the better your presence is on social media. That is the idea that goes right now, and that is how the social media has moreover impeded the idea of communication, and has promoted the idea of social validation through this virtual society. Now, when I say virtual society, it also has a major setback. It has a major setback in terms of completely setting aside the idea of society that used to exist, the idea of physical society where people used to physically contact and build over the emotions, sentiments, and ideas physically. When I say why physical communication is important, when I say why physical sharing of ideas is important, it depends on two basic facts. Number one, you don't feel a sense of belongingness. You don't have an associative value with a person you are talking to, because your number of contacts have become endless. You just don't have one particular person who you completely trust. And with the coming social media frauds, with the yes.
Your time
And
is
with
over.
this, with this, I would like to complete that, conclude that this has set aside the real society that used to exist, where the physical presence was of utmost importance, and the virtual society that imbibes upon the idea of social validation has taken over, and physical contact and sharing of ideas has completely hindered, and hence the communication. Thank you.
Can you please repeat your topic?
So, does social media improve or impede communication?
Okay, okay.
Charanjeev, may I please request you to allocate topics to Disha? She has just joined the meeting.
Yeah, sure. So,
Disha, are you there? Can you just sort of say hey? Yeah, she's there. Charanji, validate the topic.
So, Disha, your topic is education should be privatized or not? Education should be privatized or not? I hope it was clear.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm Anusha Dagar and earlier I joined it. My audio was not working. So can you allocate the topic to me also?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So, your topic is schools should teach LGBT plus inclusive sex education. Schools should teach inclusive LGBT inclusive sex education. I hope it was clear, Anusha.
Can you please repeat it?
Schools should teach LGBT inclusive sex education.
Okay, thanks. Also,
Okay, great.
all participants are requested to please introduce.
Also, I may please request to whoever is speaking, that person would only turn them his mic on. Rest will all mute their mics, please. Thank
So,
you.
Aditi, can you begin? Aditi, are you able to hear me? Aditi?
Am I audible?
We can move to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next
All the best.
Hello. Okay. So, hi everybody. This is Aditi, and I'm currently pursuing CSE from IGDTUW. So, my topic is, should animal testing be banned or not? So, firstly, I will be speaking upon that animal testing should be banned. So yeah, animal testing should be banned because animals are very different from human beings and therefore make poor test subjects too. The anatomy, morphology, internal, external systems all are different from us. Moreover, it is not always 100% true results are shown. Animals tests may mislead the researchers into ignoring potential cures and treatments. Also alternative testing methods are included, which may be done on alternating testing methods are included, which may be done on humans too. And it has been also proved that only 5% of animals used in testing are protected by the US law, and rest are not. So it is quite possible that after testing, their body may become immune to some other diseases too. Animal tests do not reliably predict results in human beings, as I said, because animals' morphology is totally different from humans. So it is so only 94% of drugs are that pass animal tests fail in human case. Suppose if we take the example of this highly pandemic situation of COVID-19, scientists are continuously making and trying their best to make the vaccine for this coronavirus, and it is being constantly seen that they aren't able to make this. They aren't able to make this. Sorry, my net connection gone. So they aren't able to make this vaccine properly because that's the fact, because animals anatomy is totally different, and most of the experiments involved are totally flawed and wasting the lives of animals too. So according to me, animal testing should be banned because of these reasons. So hello.
Yeah, is anyone up for rebuttal? Any questions that makes it more?
Yeah,
Firstly, may
I
I
had one.
speak?
I have posted one. Am I audible?
Um,
Yeah, so
Hello.
Yogesh, Yogesh, you have posted.
Yeah. I have posted.
So your question is how feasible and practical are the alternative methods? Aditi, it is to you. How feasible and practical are the alternative methods?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, Aditi, you're audible.
So may I speak for pro now? Like in favor now?
You're supposed to answer the question that Yogesh just asked. Yogesh, can you please repeat the question, please?
Yeah, sure. So, how feasible and practical are the alternative methods that you have been talking about?
How feasible and hello?
How
Ishka,
feasible and
Wi-Fi on kar.
practical? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're
Hello.
audible. Yes, you're
How
audible.
feasible and
Hello.
how
I
feasible and practical are the alternative methods that you have been just talking about?
Okay, perfect. Aditi, may I?
hello. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yogesh, you asked that how feasible and perfect these methods, alternative methods are rather than using animals. So there are many in vitro techniques that are being made that we can test on many bacteria. We have many bacteria and in vitro techniques, and due to this 3D printing technologies we are involved with, artificial human skins can also be made, and the other vaccines could be tested on those artificial human skins through 3D printing technologies.
Okay, great.
Hello.
I think you're audible. The 1 minute is over for rebuttal. Uh, I would like to inform that instead of a bang, I will play a buzzer sound so you get notified. Right? So let's
Okay.
begin with
Currently, may I cut you, please?
yeah, sure.
Um, Trisha has just joined, so can you please allocate the topic to her?
Yeah. Hi, Trisha. Am I audible?
Yes,
Trisha?
you're audible.
So your topic is religion should be taught in schools. Religion should be taught in schools. I hope it was clear.
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So, Divyansh, may we begin with you?
Uh, uh, Charanji, before you move
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
can you just first ring the buzzer, like in a test mode? Like, how does it work? So
Yeah,
just
sure.
all of us can just get notified.
Yeah, sure. Did you hear?
No, it
Was
wasn't
it
audible.
audible?
No.
No, it wasn't.
Divyansh? Okay, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Or would it be better if you intervene me after the first or and the second minute?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so like you tell me after like when the first and second minute are over.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So hi guys, Devyansh. I'm from National Law University, Odisha. My topic is feminism relevant in the 21st century? So you can start the time now. So like I'll be first talking about four. So like feminism, where has it grown from? Like women have been continuously facing challenges, and like they've always been suppressed throughout the course of history, and this hasn't stopped in the 21st century. So like why do we need it? Firstly, when we talk about that the outgrowing rage against women, first there have been recent cases in the lockdown in this pandemic time that women have been facing physical violence while they're locked down at home. So and they've been trying to come out. So this provides, and like secondly, like this provides a feeling of belonging, or a feeling of that someone is there for you when you're facing problems, when you're facing challenges from society. What you need is a support. What you need is that you feel that there are some more people like you who are trying to who are striving to end this culture of that, of suppression against women. And like and there are many benefits of
1 minute over.
of this movement. 1 minute over. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I'd be speaking against this motion now, that women have been misusing this right for now. Why shouldn't we doing it in 21st century? Is the first of all, the very case of boys locker room we just saw right now. What they did was they used the gender to spread some news which was completely fake and was created by them. It provided what it did it did nothing but provided a rage against some boys, just because the other gender was a woman. And there have been some reports where we have seen that most of the rape cases that are filed are fake, just for the sake of money, or defaming someone. And the present feminism, which we are talking about, the 21st century, is a pseudo feminism. This is a point to be noted, that this is a pseudo feminism which promotes false impression of feminism and voicing of rights. What feminism promotes is people to come out for their rights, not something which is against their culture. What this pseudo feminism is asking you is to do something, to smoke, to drink, which is not the purpose of feminism. The whole purpose of feminism is upliftment of them. The basic problem of this era of feminism is that their role models, the people who are their role models, are some actors or some billionaires, not the people who are not the people who come from directly or face some problems. Though there are some problems, but the major though there are some people who come out of those things, but still they are the major of the leaders of this very movement. Or is the 1 minute over?
Yeah, it was completed before. Okay.
So
So we have a lot of questions in the chat.
okay.
Okay, so first one from Yogesh. Yogesh, would you like to express your question?
Okay, shall the violations of women right in turn stop the idea of feminism?
Such violations does not stop the complete idea, but it maligns the idea. Like the whole idea gets corrupted. People lose faith from it, and when a faith is lost from some movement, the movement goes on a downfall. The very moment. Any more questions?
We have from Tanuj.
Hi, Tanuj.
Tanuj, will you?
Yeah. Okay. So, Divyansh, my question to you is, like, when you talk about the concept of pseudo-feminism that is on the rise in the 21st century, so don't you think that it's kind of a generalized statement that is made on your part?
It's though it seems generalized, but it's coming from a major chunk of data. It's coming from a major chunk of people who are using it against it. That's what I told Yogesh sir, that when a chunk of people, or a part of that movement, a part of people from that movement only maligns the idea of that very concept, it goes on a downfall. So it's not generalizing; it's just giving the examples. Any more questions?
Trisha? So she says, there has been no official announcement that all the screenshots were fraud, and because few women does it doesn't mean that you can name it pseudo feminism. And just like men say hashtag not all men, then why is it being that just cause of few women the whole movement is being degraded?
Yeah, so I guess I've given the answer in the last two things only. Like, that's what I'm telling you. When in this very moment, there was some posts of like, yes, not all, but yes, all men. So like, when this generalization is a factor or a way of the society, how they just judge by a single example the whole movement. Okay, so this is the way a society thinks. And when we are talking about from a social aspect, we must talk about how the society thinks and not my individual effects. So guess that solves.
Okay, so next we have
Charanjeev, before you begin forward, may I please request you to allocate the topic to Jay? He has joined late.
yeah, sure. Jay, your topic is schools should teach abstinence only sex education. Schools should teach abstinence only sex education.
Okay. So should I start now or I should just wait for my turn?
No, you have to prepare for 5 minutes.
Okay.
So the next, Glory, are you able to hear me? Glory?
Yes, I can hear it.
Yeah, please begin.
Okay, just a second. Yes, my name is Glory Singh, and my topic is should the drinking age in Delhi be changed or increased? So I will first talk for the topic that yes, because evidence suggests that drinking is actually linked to many antisocial practices that are prevalent in a society. So it should be increased from 25, which is the current bar, drinking legally drinking, and since drinking impairs your judgment, so people don't really are conscious of what they actually do when they are in that drunken state. So this this is actually the cause of many crimes that are occurring in Delhi and many other cities, as a matter of fact. And a research made by social psychology, a research made under social psychology has actually found that young males actually underestimate their sexual aggressiveness when they're asked about it when they are not drunken, but when they're in that drunken state, their aggressiveness is actually a lot more than they believe that it is in the normal conscious state. So it actually leads to a lot of um, crimes, mostly related to abuse and molestation. So now I will speak against the topic that it is actually the age has actually changed once from 21 to 25, keeping in mind the effects that it has on our nervous system and that it impairs the judgment of an average person. So, and also, if it is it is well above the age of 18 years old, and also if people don't get
It's time
access
for
to
rebuttal.
alcohol by means of
Please
by
ask any question if anyone has within 1 minute, and please don't try not to type your on the chats.
if people don't get
Okay, so
access.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Hello. How far the state can dictate the personal affairs of individuals on the basis of morality? Did you get my question?
No, please repeat it once.
how far the state can dictate the personal affairs of individuals on the basis of morality. And I put the question on the chat column as well, so you can refer to that as well.
But how is this linked to the topic? I don't understand what you're actually trying to ask. Can you please elaborate?
I think the 1 minute is over. Let's begin. Let's go for the next participant. Kritika.
Yeah.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Hello, everybody. So my topic was, does every person who believes in equality follows feminism? Okay, so first I would like to clear this myth which everybody has, that feminism and equality are like one thing. It's like, very obvious, and it's very subconscious that when somebody says equality, the first thought in your mind is feminism. Like if somebody is talking about equality, you will just assume or presume that the person is talking about feminism, but that's not correct. Feminism and equality are two different things. Feminism exists because equality and inequality does. I would like to state that actually inequality is a little bit easier for us than it is for guys, because people fail to notice that if when guys, you know, experience a lot of inequality, but the society talks about inequality happening with us, but nobody ever talks about inequality happening with guys. So I've never seen anybody talking about that. So I kind of, always have that point in me. Okay, so feminism, the definition of feminism for a lot of people is like quite vivid, and people have taken feminism in a very wrong way. For example, feminism, okay, there are people who are fighting for feminist rights. There are so many rallies and, you know, controversies happening because people want their rights. For example, I was just going through this news, and there were like these few people in parliament, they were fighting for the reservation of seats for women in the government. Okay, if you guys answer it for yourselves, if you want reservation for women in parliament, how does that not prove that women are like a weaker aspect of the society, and that's the reason they need, like reservations, and guys are not? Like, have you ever seen any guy fighting for like reservation for men in parliament or something? Okay, I'll break it down to a more simpler way. For example, you take so basically I am from Mumbai, so I don't know if there is this rule in your Delhi, I don't know, but in our, like in the BST, there are reservation for women. Like there are like 12 seats reserved for women, and nobody can sit on that except for the females. And if there's a guy sitting, even if there's a 90-year-old person sitting on the seat, a college girl has all the right to come and, ask that guy to stand up, that man to stand up. And I find that very wrong, because that's not how we're supposed to treat everybody in the society. And I would like to now go like explain that how every person does not follow feminism. So it's not because they don't want to support feminism, it's because they don't know what exactly feminism is. And that's the reason they've been supporting the wrong feminism all the way. I guess that's it. Any questions? Or I see the
Open for rebuttal.
yes, Tanuj, I'd like to hear your question.
Hi, Kritika.
Hi,
So
Tanuj.
in the initial of your speech, you just mentioned that feminism and equality has like in them, right?
Yep,
But
yep.
just don't you think that the reasons on the basis of which the feminist movement in the first and second wave was started were usually because of the long living ages and entrenching of patriarchy, right? When
Yep,
one
yep.
community is already below the level of equality, and equality will exist when that community will be given extra incentives and extra rights, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So like, how
So,
do you justify that stance?
so that is what exactly my point was, that feminism and equality are two different things. We are fighting to stand shoulder to shoulder with guys. For example, you just mentioned patriarchy. We are not aiming to, bring patriarchy below us and matriarchy above us. We just want him to be on the same level. So that's what the fight is for. And there are people who have taken it in the wrong way and they want women to be superior than men.
So there are almost 20 seconds left for rebuttal. Would anyone like to go on
Anybody
further?
else?
Okay, so Kritika, how do you think that the idea of equality and feminism go hand in hand and does not contradict itself? Because at one point of time you are demanding for separate reservation, and at the same point of time you ask yourself to be treated equally. How does that go hand in hand and does not
So
contradict each
that's
other?
what I said, that is wrong for you asking for reservation. And exactly why I said that you guys could answer this yourself, that it is really wrong for you to ask for reservation. You are strong enough, women are strong enough, and we are fighting, and we are, like fighting to show the world that we are not something, like weaker than men. And that's the reason that we are fighting. And that's the reason feminism exists. That's the whole soul of feminism, to exist, to show people that we are not any weaker than men. And you fighting for reservation just actually proves your point that
The time
you're
limit
weaker
is
than
over.
men. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so next, I think we have Tanuj.
So before I begin, Chiranjeev, like when I'll be speaking initially for the motion. So just tell me when I have to change my stance and I'll go for against, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So my topic for today is queer communities should have access to adopt children and donate blood, right? So understand that the queer community is like it's a kind of community which has gained acceptance in the recent years due to the decriminalization of Section 377, right? So for this, we need to have a level of clarity. Understand that this is a community which has been facing a lot of discrimination and inequality, right? A lot of backlash from the mainstream people, right? People who have like a different kind of straight sexual orientation, right? Because these are the people who have been discriminating against them, right? And in the society particularly. And right, what society am I talking about? I'm talking about the society in which we currently live in, right? A society which has its values entrenched in the principles of equity, equality, and liberty, right? These are the major and most essential principles of the society, right? When these principles get violated, and we take away from them the fundamental right, the right to determine their own actions and their own choices. That is their own personal choices, right? These personal choices with regards to like whether they have this right to experience the joy or the feeling of motherhood or fatherhood or the parenthood, right? Which we take away from them, being call it law, societal norms, or anything, right? These things become really
1 minute
problematic.
is
So, like,
over.
okay, now at the same time, we need also need to understand here that the major stakeholders involved in this kind of discourse or this kind of conversation is the children of the children that they are going to adopt to, right? These are the children who like whom they adopt are the ones who are going to bear the brunt of the societal discrimination that goes against their parents, right? These are the children who are going to face the consequences from other people, right? Because these children are never going to be treated equally like their peers, right? Which used to have it, which will happen like accordingly with respect to the consequences which will happen, right? So we need to understand that the bigger harm will lie in in giving them access to adopt these children. And secondly, the major question that also lies here is the giving them access to have this ability to donate blood. Understand that won't be any workable solution because people are not going to get that kind of donation of the blood from them, right? Why? Because people have this kind of prejudices and fear that these are they represent a community which has a lot of fear of being prone to STDs, right? So these are the major two issues that become really problematic and so essential to ponder upon, right?
The
So,
time is
like, in
over.
order to summarize, okay,
Open for rebuttal.
yeah,
Hi, I'll be asking Rebuttal. Hi, Tanuj. Divyansh here.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Tanuj, so as per your speech, what I got from you was that if we allow them to adopt children, the discrimination would end for them to certain extent. Okay, and on the other hand, the children would themselves experience some of this discrimination. So do you want to end someone's discrimination for a newer discrimination for some children who's a newborn itself?
Okay, firstly, the question has a lot of fallacies, but still, in spite of that, I'll just answer it. So whatever I'm getting from your question is that they are the ones who are going to, like, for whom is discrimination is going to end at a certain extent, right? Understand, like, this is something which has been deeply entrenched in society, right? These are the societal norms which decide the level of a discrimination that happens, right? If I'm discriminated against you, that is the basic of reasonableness that lies in the society, right? And when that reasonableness, my reasonableness fades away, the discrimination also, proportionately gets over.
The time is over.
Okay. So the 1 minute is over, or the first real time is over.
Yeah, all the 3 minutes are over.
Cool.
Okay.
Good to go.
So let's go on with Vedant.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so I'm Vedant Sharma from National Law University, Odisha, and my topic today is opening of lockdown, debating life versus economy. So for the first minute, I would be speaking for life. So if we look at the world scenario currently, the whole world has been come to a standstill because the major chunk of the world population has been living under a lockdown enforced by the world government to protect the human species. Now, at current stage, when we have no medication as of now, no vaccine available, or no new medical development or breakthrough in the medical field for the coronavirus, opening the lockdown at currently would itself defeat the whole idea of, or the narrative of enforcing the lockdown, which was to save the human species. Because with as of now, we have no other alternative to protect the human life. If we look at the cost benefit analysis of opening the lockdown, as per the study of Stanford, the average cost of human life is $1,29,000. So if we even look at the economic cost of the lockdown and evaluate with the term cost of life, the loss incurred due to the economic lockdown is far less than what we could lose in form of human resources if we revoke the lockdown currently.
The time is over, 1 minute.
And proceed with a normal life. Now, I would speak for the part of economy. Now, looking at the whole volatility of the world economy, the extension of lockdown will at all costs rupture the whole structure. Now, the point is, the whole economy acts as a living organism in which you feed the raw material and the human resource inputs, it processes the goods and provides us the outcomes and the benefits on which we survive upon. So if we stop the living organism for a while, we would be able to sustain with the inputs which were being there and processed. But if we do that for a longer period of time, the whole body or the whole structure of the world will collapse, and we would have nothing to sustain upon. And the life in itself has no essence without livelihood. So if we want to sustain the human life, we must start going back to the normal phase of life phase-wise, because with such a pandemic looming over our head, we cannot have another collapse of world economy and have nothing else. So therefore, to sustain the human life, it is also essential to balance the economic life of the whole world equally with the human life. Open to rebuttals.
Any questions?
Yeah, Tanuj, you have a question?
Okay, so Vedant claiming this fallacy that there are developing countries and developed nations, right? And for both of them, there lies a difference in per income of a person. Even if you try and go at opening the lockdown, how do you justify the difference in fallacies of a developing nation and a developed nation?
Now, there exists a material difference between the standard of life of developing nation and developed nation, agreed. But if we look at the whole economy, we must go back to what we are living. We cannot expect to grow the developing nations to the developed nations during a pandemic, or you cannot compare both the situations. So, but we need to go at the past stage at what we were. So we are not looking to surpass the difference. We are just We are just working to maintain the status quo which was before the pandemic struck the whole world.
Thank you very much.
Around 5 seconds left.
You may continue.
Okay, great. Next, we would begin with Trisha. Trisha, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, your voice is a little low.
Is it fine
Can you
now?
fix this out? Not yet.
Now,
Yeah, better.
so I am Trisha from Indira Gandhi Delhi Technical University, and my topic is education should be privatized or not. Speaking as of India, privatizing the education system is a merely bad idea because the illiteracy rate and the poverty is a major issue in India, which will lead to more illiteracy rates here. Because if you would privatize the institutions, then a whole chunk of people, a whole lot of chunk people would not be able to afford the education here. Secondly, education is a basic human right, which has also been written in our constitution. We would be indirectly taking away from the people. And if we are saying that private institutes can have a EWC quota for them, but not a lot of institutes follow it. And secondly, the point is not a lot of institution might give away all of the EW seats to only poor people. They might use donations and stuff like that for richer kids.
Okay, are you done with the for part?
Yeah.
So go with against.
So I think government usually focuses more on the primary education, but not on the later parts of the education. And it has been studied that India spends a lot more less on its education than other countries like China. It should be a merely balance between the privatization and government education. They should private institutes should invest, but their profit they should not keep the profit in their mind. And government institutes are not very likely to known be of good quality except some technical and professional institutions. And there has been a number of incremental in private institutions all over India, which makes it accessible for the people who are not able to get in because of their good score, but also because of their money. That might be a disadvantage. Is it over?
Oh no, it isn't.
Okay, so it might be a disadvantage for few students, but if money can get you the basic education, I don't see a problem here. And government should put a strict rule for the private institutes that they have to take economically weaker section. Yeah, any questions?
Disha, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
May I? Yeah. So my question is, don't you think privatization in education would cater a lot many opportunities for the students?
Yeah, I think that. But it should be in a limited manner, because if you privatize the whole education system, then you are ignoring the basically poor section of society, which would not be able to get the education.
20 seconds left for rebuttal. Anyone? I think Tanuj has a question.
Okay, my question here is that in spite of getting the idea that government education institutions do not have that much of quality, don't you think educated people are still roaming around, as jobless over there, right? And and they become a bigger liability over here. How do you justify this? That
They do become a liability after a certain. Unemployment is a major issue in India too, but still you have to be educated. You can still be an entrepreneur or do some job. At least you be educated. If you are unemployed, you should be at least minimally educated to get some job.
Okay, so before we move on further, I would like to enlighten you all again with the judgment criteria for the people who joined late. So there are 20 marks allocated for the content. 10 marks have been allocated for your physical presence, that is your eye contact, body language, and poise. 10 marks have been allocated again for your voice and your articulation. That includes volume, pace, rhythm, and your proper pronunciation of words. And 10 marks again is for the language, the appropriateness, and accuracy of the language. All right? Is it okay with everyone?
Niharika, if I may say something here,
Yes, ma'am.
I would request all the participants to please try and keep their videos on, because how will I mark you on your physical presence criteria if I can't see you? Uh, am I audible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am, you are. Guys, please turn your cameras on so that you can be
When
marked properly.
you are speaking as the debater, please keep your videos on, because as Niharika has just now shared with all of you, I have to mark you on the criteria of physical presence. So if the video is off, I can't mark you on that criteria. So it's a request from my side. Um, I think we can now proceed with the remaining participants.
Yeah. Also, Charanjeev, please allocate the topic to Samriddhi.
Yeah, sure. Samriddhi, can you hear me? Hi, Samriddhi.
Hi, can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. So, your topic is face-to-face interaction. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'll repeat again. Am I audible?
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
you're audible.
Beauty pageants, are they a way to objectify women? Beauty
Okay,
pageants, are they a way to objectify women?
so I have about 7 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is anyone there who just joined in or who has not been allocated a topic?
Excuse me, Divyansh here. I was
Yeah.
asking my speech is over. So do I need to keep my this screen on, like this thing, camera?
Divyansh, you're not audible properly. Can you speak a little louder, please?
I was asking that my speech is over. So do I need to keep my camera on?
No, I think those who are not speaking can put their cameras on off mode. It is only for the participants who are speaking. Because when I am marking your judge, I then only want you to be visible on the screen. Otherwise, you please be as comfortable as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Shruti, were you allocated a topic?
Shruti, are you able to hear us?
Okay. Let's begin with the next participant. Trisha,
Yes, I'm here.
are you ready?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Samriddhi was speaking, right? Samriddhi will not speak now.
Ma'am, actually, Samriddhi joined a little late, so we have just allocated her topic. She will speak after her 7 minutes gets over.
Okay, Trisha, please carry on.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Trisha Modi, and I am from Webs Delhi. My topic for today is should religion be taught in schools? So, for the first 1 minute, I would be speaking that yes, it should be taught in schools. Okay. So, when we talk about teaching religion to children, religion teaches us basic values such as helping each other out and respecting each other and stuff. And I believe that these ethics and values, if religion is taught in school, these ethics and values will be instilled in children from the very beginning of their lives. Religion, secondly, eliminates prejudice, intolerance, and hate among people. As religion doesn't discriminate among people and spreads love, integrity, and keeps people together as one. It acts as a binding thread and keeps together different cultures and religion and different cultures and different people. And not only does it, if we teach religion to children, not only will they be able to explore different religions, faiths, and cultures, but also many different ways of thinking and contemplating morals and issues. Teaching religion would increase children's tolerance towards other religions and cultures and ethnicities and ways of thinking. It encourages children to make their own minds about what they want to believe in and what they do not want to believe in. Better understanding of the world around them. Okay, speaking about how religion should not be taught in school. See, if we start teaching religion in school, the basic schooling, we could literally create religious armies around the world. Because there is not only one religion that we believe that we have to believe in, but many religions that people do believe in, right? Let's just say that somebody somewhere in the world says something about a religious guru or about some particular religion. So the entire population of one country or one area would be ready to revolt on, because that is the only thing that they've been teaching, that they've been studying, right? That has been instilled in their minds from the very start that, okay, nobody speaks wrong about your religion. So I think that it would guide people in a way that it did in ancient India. For example, if we see the example of ancient India, there were many kings, even of one religion. There were many kings and dynasties and stuff. Now, when the Mughals were there competing with the Hindu Rashtras, so the entire population of that area was instilled against that religion, right? Let's just say, the Mughals are here and they're ready to take over our religion, our stuff. So the entire population were moved against the entire religion. So we cannot say that religion binds people together in such a way taught in the school. All right, rebuttals.
Trisha, do you think that since India is taken as a country where all the religions are accommodated properly and they are residing here peacefully, don't you think religions are one of the major reasons for all the riots and for all the violence happening in the country right now?
I am sorry, how is it related to religion being taught in the school?
But if the religion would be taught in the school, don't you think that it might deviate or it might just misguide the students? Because anybody preach just that one particular religion and not holistic.
That's what I mentioned in my speech. Well, I did not get. What's your question?
My question clearly states is, don't you think that if religion would be taught in school, would be quite misleading for the Indian youth?
All right. So my answer to that would be that I do not propose religion being taught. Already, I barely started answering. Okay. My proposition to that would be that we do not teach particular religions in schools, but we teach the religious ideas, the religious short stories, and the religious values, and not one religion in particular as such.
I think we are done with Trisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's go on. Anusha, would you like to speak now?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I'll start. Please introduce yourself and your topic.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anusha from IGDTUW, EC. So my topic is schools should teach LGBTQ inclusive sex education. So now I'll be starting with for the motion. As we reach the height of modernization, while most schools teach roughly the basic concepts of maths, including the geometry and all, chemistry, including the periodic table and all, what schools teach for sex education is roughly all over the place. There is abundant evidence that comprehensive sex education is effectively at reducing high-risk sexual behavior and practicing and safe sex practices and sexually transmitted infection. Comprehensive sex education programs are inclusive of lesbian, gays, bisexual, and transgender and LGBTQ youth. Specifically, it would require comprehensive sex education to cover sensitive and respectful discussions on gender identity, and sexual orientation. So, each and every student actually has a right to know about the sex education, and every teacher and parents should teach everything. So, okay, so now I'll be speaking against the motion. No sex education should be taught in school. It is very much possible that sex education will not serve its purpose, as students are very much likely to take it carelessly given the age factor. More than half of the parents does not think that education should be taught to school at the school level, according to a very renowned survey. It is awkward. Some people say that it's very awkward. And I also remember that when in class 10, we were taught the reproductive chapter, it was a very awkward moment for the teachers as well as for the students. Parents should teach the students, and it should not be for the schools to take it. So sex education does not teach it should not be taught in public schools under any circumstance. While it is a health class, psychology, bio, or anything, it should not be taught, because students, it is not the right age for it. In school, students are about 18 years old, and it's not the right age for them. Thank you. Any questions?
Guys, I would like to notify before I start the time for rebuttal. Please do not notify on chats if you want to ask a question. Kindly speak up, since the time limit is 1 minute, so I can't just check each and every chat. I'm really sorry for that. Okay, I'll start the time.
Okay.
Trisha, you can ask your question. Oh, actually, she pinned it in the chat. Trisha?
Okay.
Okay, my question is, ma'am, you said that it will be very awkward if we teach sex in the class, sex education in the class. The entire point of giving sex education to children is to remove sex as a taboo. So what is your say on that?
It's actually true, but actually what we see is that you also remember that in class 10 there was a chapter regarding it. So it created a very awkward situation. And secondly, the students which are in school, they are approximately 18 years old. So it's not the right age for them.
What do you think the right age to teach sex education is then?
Maybe in college, like after school.
Not everybody goes to college, gets to go to college after school. So how would you impart sex?
Well, that was a nice topic. I think we can have an open debate if we have time left.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's begin with Jay. Jay, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Okay.
Okay, great.
Good evening, guys.
Yeah.
Am I audible to you guys?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. So my topic is abstinence only sex education, and firstly, I'm going to start with for the topic. Okay. So as we all know that our country is following this thing since ages, and I think if something is being taught to us since ages, I don't think that if it has not come up with any bad effect to the society, it should be stopped. First point is this. Second point I want to make about this is, I think we all will agree that when sex is included in a relationship, it is actually, somehow it harms the relationship. If you if you just talk about a relationship without all these sexual stuff involved in it, the relationship is more about understanding each other. And if the age is not right, as you guys are not married, you guys should focus on what each other's interests are and other things you can explore about the relationship. So it's better, I think, that it will actually not the sexual trauma and all the stress and depression we have. Okay, so I would now switch over to against the topic. Okay, now as we all know that sex education is imparted in the school curriculum or in the college curriculum, because it actually is aimed towards solving problems. the first problem that it solves, the problems that it solves are actually really serious. The first thing is it solves the problem of child exploitation, child abuse, and other serious issues. Okay, so I don't think that one should have sex without marriage, before marriage, or after marriage. That should be so much of a concern. Talking about sex education, there are other issues which we could focus on other than just this. Okay. The next thing is education is something that gives freedom to the people. If I am educated, I'm like restricting someone. If someone and he has the right to, have sex or to not have sex before marriage, it's up to him. Why are we restricting him to? Okay. The other thing I would like is, okay, I'm open to rebuttal.
Is anybody having any question?
Yeah.
Any questions? Jay, you can skip if you want. Anything you want to express.
Okay. So I'm saying that there are other important issues that we often actually connect with this sex education, about sex education in schools or in colleges. There are other aspects why we teach them. Child exploitation being the main one. So why are we considering sex education that only just men have sex? I don't think that it's really that. That's all I have. Any questions? I'm ready for any questions if you guys want to ask.
Actually, the time is
Okay.
over. So let's go on with Samriddhi. Samriddhi, are you able to hear me? Are you in?
But can I take some more time?
Actually,
Am I audible?
I hope you got your 7 minutes.
I think I have, but still, maybe 2 or 3 more minutes would be fine. I just think if it's possible.
I'm really sorry, Samriddhi, it's not possible. I should be fair to all the participants.
Okay, so just a minute. Okay, now am I audible?
Yes, Samriddhi.
So my topic is beauty pageants objectify women. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Samriddhi Chur from Sri Venkateshwara College, Delhi University. And first of all, I will be speaking for pageants objectify women. So the word is very powerful as it symbolizes the appearance of a person. Moreover, it showcases the distinctness of a person. Many people also think that beauty defines women and women are defined by beauty. So beauty pageants are basically contests in which the women are judged basically on the basis of their physical appearance, that is how they look and how they perform and present themselves in front of everyone. So to a greater extent, we may find the fact that the beauty pageants do indeed objectify the women body, and that's because the judgment is solely on the basis of physical appearance. It is basically for female contestants on the basis of how they look and what is their go into the criteria. There will be some stages in the contest will have round and this will be a round where the women specifically object and or something like that. And if you go into the contest and if you're a spectator there, you will find something highly peculiar. Now coming on to speaking on the against topic. If you look at on the hidden prospect of this contest, the statement would be that it is indeed a contest. They do not only judge the contestant on the basis of their physical appearance, but they're also looking for the person to have a certain level of IQ. Certain skill rounds are also there where the person may display their hidden qualities or talents if they have that. Also, one other factor that we can take in account that everyone looks for fame and success, and everyone willingly enters into this contest in order to gain that success, which cannot be ruled out. And since everyone wants to be there and everyone is there willingly, I don't believe that it actually objectifies anyone. Since everyone gets to have their own free will, and I think that being in the beauty pageant also is one of them. So.
Okay, great. Time for rebuttal.
Anyone has any question, please shoot.
Any questions, guys? Samriddhi, you can speak if you want.
Okay. I think I have made my point. I needed some time, so whatever I had to speak, I have done. I've already said it.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, guys.
I hope.
So now that we're done with almost all participants, I'd like to take you to the next phase of this debate competition, that is the open debate. And I'd like Charanjeev to introduce the topic to everyone, please.
Yeah, sure. Before that, I think Shruti is in the meeting. Shruti, are you able to respond? Would you like to participate? Shruti? Okay, so let's move on with the open debate till the results have been calculated. So the topic is what I just shared with Anusha. Her topic: schools should teach LGBT inclusive sex education. I hope.
Also, before we begin with this, may I please request all of you all to please turn your cameras on so that it becomes more interactive.
Let's begin, guys. Does anyone else want to switch on the camera? Please switch on the camera and share a smile with us. I think that's necessary. Okay, Jay is smiling. Anyone else? Tanuj, Divyansh, Vedant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's begin with the open debate. I'll repeat the topic. Schools should teach LGBT inclusive sex education.
Okay, so according to me, I think schools should include this type of education in their curriculum, because after this, after this 377 and all this new things coming out for this LGBTQ, it's also a really, a necessity to actually teach sex education, including, sex education regarding these people. That will actually help in somehow, there is some kind of a fear still available in some people around India. I can say that they are somehow they are homophobic and they don't know about it. So they should actually start, teaching about them, and people will get to know about them, more better. So that is my point.
Uh, Hi, it's Vedant there. I would like to speak.
Just a minute, Vedant. I'm sorry I'm disturbing you. I hope you all know what's an open debate. You can change
Yeah.
your stance if you want to. Okay.
Chiranjeev,
Vedant, you
just
can
once again
continue.
repeat the motion of this open debate.
It is schools should teach LGBT inclusive sex education.
Okay.
Yeah, Vedant, please continue.
Okay, so I would like to put forth the construct that if we look at the general child that grows up in a society, for every child, there are two types of trait. One is the inherited traits, and one other inherited traits. So basically, when a child is developing, the first place the child develops its traits are at its home. So if you look at basically the development of a child from the age of let's say 2 years to 6 or 7 years, basically everything what a child learns
I
is
may
from.
intervene. I'm sorry, Divya. If I may intervene, please.
Ma'am,
Hello.
you're not audible. Yeah, yeah.
What if you off the camera? Because I think many of us switch on our cameras. So suddenly be okay. Everyone just speaks on the microphone, and otherwise, whatever.
Ma'am, the voice was not clear. I was not able to hear the message properly.
Alright.
Okay, so I think maybe cameras can be switched off so that ma'am can hear the participants properly. Since it is an open debate, you can switch off your cameras. Ma'am, I hope you are able to hear us. Yes, guys, let's go on with the debate. Vedant, please continue.
Yeah, so I was saying that for a child of age, let's say from 2 years to 7 years, the child acquires most of its traits and most of the details or the personalities from uh, his or her home itself. So if we primarily look at that, how can we imbibe in a child that it must respect all genders and accept the neutrality of genders and everything, then it must come from home itself. Because when a child reaches the proper age at school, let's say 13 years, 14 years, when these things are introduced in a curriculum, it's too late to basically change the discriminatory behavior which has been imbibed in a child from its home or from the society. So first of all, we need to work individually, that at our homes we train the child that our children should be inclusive of all genders and all types of ideologies to that. So basically that's my point.
Vedant, I want to make a point here that, actually, if I talk about schooling, we guys learn a lot in school, from every bad habit that we have, and to every good habit that we have, that includes the confidence we get from school. I think school plays a major role in all these. So if school is also taking up this responsibility to teach the sex education, because sometimes, there are people in your school, in our class, in my class, and in your class also, you find some students that, you know, their parents are not that, they also don't know about LGBTQ. How can they impart us knowledge on them? Not every parent is that educated or that, knows about this, aware about all the things happening around them. So I think teacher who are well educated, and we look after teachers, that they are going to impart us with every kind of knowledge. I think teachers are better to explain us what to do and what not to do. And I think sex education will be better taught by our teachers than our parents.
Adding
Hello.
to the same point,
Excuse
I
me.
believe.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Hello.
Tanuj. Yeah, Tanuj. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're audible.
Okay. So one point clarification here to both Vedant and Jay is that like just understand that before moving on to the level of whether this thing should be inclusive in the schooling in itself or not, right? Let's just understand how the structures of society has been governing our mindsets and our prejudices for a very long time. Right. So like when we firstly initially had this kind of discriminatory practice going on against this third gender, right? There were different kinds of legal evolutions of cases that took shape, right? These cases then further led to the change in the social norm that is prevalent today. We look at people who are changing, you're trying to change their own perceptions with regards to this third gender, right? Once that happens, once these things starts, what it leads to is that how the societal norms are going to accept this third community as a whole, right? And like it doesn't necessarily mean that it's only the teacher, only the parent who has to do it all alone, and there might not be any kind of support from the society and from the other party as well, right? Because this is basically a societal issue, more of a societal issue than a legal issue, because like legality has been in check with the upcoming judgments and the upcoming laws, right? So in order to tackle this issue, what needs to be changed here is like how the society perceives this third gender, how the norms have been dictating in the major discourse, and how these norms should dictate the further courses of action.
Tanuj, I think that we guys are actually diverging from the topic. The topic is
Exactly.
that whether this thing should be inclusive of LGBTQ and should be taught in our schools or not about society accepting them. So
Yeah,
I don't think.
yeah, Jay, I totally agree to that. But like just even before debating on this topic or even discussing on this topic, like what my major contention here is to convey that everything, like if we try to include this thing from the school itself, we first need to break those assumptions, break those prejudices which are embedded in it, right? Because we first need to unlearn a certain kind of behavior, then we'll be able to learn another kind of behavior. I guess you're getting my point here.
Yeah, adding to the behavior thing of yours, Tanuj. So like I would just like to add some points from my side. LGBTQ is like a history. Like it's been going from like these are the social norms that people hate. Like people have been imbibing from the times enough. So this is the time that when we are accepting them, we accept them fully. So like when we say that LGBTQ, it's a gender. Like when we're talking about sex education, it's about humans. Like when we include them humans, we give them equality. That's where the social norms of the hate against them or the discrimination against them, that's where it ends. Like the generation, the new generation accepts them completely. That's the complete motive of the of that very education. That's my
And
that's what my
exactly,
stance on.
When we talk about exception, their exception in the society, I think that start with LGBTQ inclusive sex education in the school itself. So there are many students who belong to this community, but they've not come open about it to their parents. And I think that that is not an age for them to feel excluded in the society because, see, right now, if you talk about the Indian context, also our education is open to the concept of accepting other genders, but the generations elder to us still consider this as a taboo, right? So if we start with LGBTQ inclusive sex education in the school itself, so it would act as a burden to the students who are belonging to the community, as then they would actually, feel more excluded and more marginalized within their schools and their families.
No,
Okay,
actually,
Trisha,
I
answer
will
this
agree with
question.
Trisha here because Trisha, that if we actually include the sex education inclusive of LGBTQ in the schools, this will actually somehow empower them. If they are somehow afraid that they cannot come up with their identity in front of their friends or in front of their teachers and everybody. If they see that some other person is taking a step and he's trying to make his identity for everybody, he wants to say that he's a gay or he's someone. So I think that thing should actually encourage other people also to come forward and say the same things. So I
Okay,
don't
so
think that.
adding
Yeah,
to
go
what
on.
you all said, I would like to bring in a new perspective that we must also look at the angle that are a school and the educational systems equipped enough to bring in such perspective to the to the child's learning and imparting education. Because if not, then there's a grave chance that people may mislead them and people may misinterpret it to the young generation, and it would impact very profoundly into the young minds of the children.
Vedant, actually, you're right on this. This is the right thing to actually concentrate on. That is school ready to do this? But I would say that school is like the most ready for this compared to.
Okay, just answer this question. One basic question here. Instead of going for the ability, whether I have this ability to continue this function, let's just understand what exactly is the motive, or like is the motive behind this function, or the performance of this function valid or not, right? Like, because I am of this opinion particularly that even if the school tries to encompass or inculcate such a certain kind of education among children that they become acceptance, that they form acceptance to a third gender particularly, right? But at the same time, we have to accept this fact undeniably that there lies a society after that school time, which consists of its parents, the student's parents, and his family, extended family members, right?
I am sorry to
Along with it,
interrupt you, Tanuj,
okay, just a second.
but
I'm
I
just
have
going to
this
complete on a bit.
question. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
I am sorry
Please
to
go.
interrupt you, but see, I've been listening to the entire debate for a very long time, and all of you all are talking about acceptance and how society will accept it. But nobody ever talked about gaining knowledge. There are some people, and as you know, the child is like a very sensitive stage in your life, and if something happens to you, it leaves a mark on you because you're very innocent and sensitive, and you don't know how the real world is outside. And since you don't know what is happening to you, you feel like you're not a part, you're not normal, you're abnormal, and that's very wrong thing to feel. So since you're not, aware about it, and since you're a kid, you don't have so much access to internet at that age. So you don't know
How
about
this
all of
is
this stuff,
relevant to
and
this debate?
the school,
Kritika,
pardon,
how this is relevant to this debate? How this is relevant to this
it's
debate?
about,
That is
so
inculcating.
I was coming on point, saying that the schools should educate such people, like on such topics, all the children, they don't feel like they're abnormal. For example, you could turn out to be somebody who has, a liking towards guys more than girls. And since you see your other friends, like going, shooting their shot to girls, and you don't feel like doing it, you start questioning yourself. So that's the entire topic, that you feel that you're out of, you're not normal. And that leaves a scar on you.
Trisha, that is what I'm
See,
saying.
I'm
Right?
talking from personal experience because when I was in school, I wasn't aware about any of this, and this has been going on since like forever.
Trisha, that is what
Okay,
I'm
but
saying.
here, like, you just understand, like, because like, I'll just continue on the previous point that I was talking about,
Okay, I
that
want to speak after
the
you.
acceptance, yeah, that the acceptance doesn't necessarily have is necessary to be coming from the school in itself, right? There are other stakeholders and other actors which also govern our identities and also govern our actions as well, right? You get influenced by the social media, you get influenced by the media generally, the newspapers, Facebook, Instagram, there are a lot of things that out there today, right? Your religion particularly, right? Like, even if you talk about that, we might find ourselves in a liberal kind of discourse or normative today, but there will be some certain kind of unscientific and rigid doctrinal practices of a particular religion which might lead you to end up following that particular norm, right? Becoming a follower to that religion, and that hence the thing that I guess Kritika just talked about, like that a person he himself starts feeling a conflict within himself, right? This is basically what exactly has been happening all, like, I personally, the reason why I raised this point was that if the school tries to inculcate this kind of education, and the child after the school or before the school has to face quite the opposite from his parents, right? He gets to know that the authority from which he is receiving these kinds of orders or getting this kind of new knowledge or information, these authorities have like they hold a certain place in his mind, right? So instead of just going blindly towards this achievement of this goal of inculcating this education necessarily, like society their rectifications, right, as to how these things are going to impact on a child's mind both psychologically and emotionally.
See, Tanuj,
So
your point that after this thing, your point that after this schooling thing, the person has to face societal pressure also. I would like to say on this that
it's not a pressure, it's not a societal pressure. It's just how the society perceives it generally.
Okay. I get your point. So you're saying that after this, he has to face or she has to face so many problems, but you know that there are a lot of problems right now also in this in our Indian society that actually is solving. We are solving it through education, right? There are parents who don't know about what their child is doing, or there are parents who don't actually know that their child is more interested in sketching, for example, and they go to the parents teacher meeting. They talk to the teacher who's teaching him, arts or fine arts or something, and she tells this their parents that this thing is there. So I think if schooling takes this responsibility to teach the sex education, parents can always talk to the teachers. They're always, teachers are always there for the student, and teachers are also there for the parents also. So they can call them, they can tell them that this problem is happening.
Okay,
And I
Jay,
think
this basically contradicts your whole argument that you talked about, right? So, and on one hand, you're saying that the school in itself should hold the responsibility of doing so. On the other hand, you're just saying that parents and the society in itself has to be involved in this whole process. Once this
no,
happens,
I'm not saying that.
understand?
Anuj, I'm saying
You just said that.
Tanuj, I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm not saying that the other society and the parents are to be involved in this. I'm saying that if we impart this thing in schooling only, this will actually further help the child to be more open about it. If you consider yourself that, if for example, I take it to myself that I am one of the LGBTQ, me telling to the parents will actually cost me a lot more courage, and I will be afraid to be telling them about it. But my teacher telling them, if my teacher telling the parent, I think that would be more appropriate, or that would actually help me furthermore, because parents.
Wait, so you're
Okay.
saying that coming open about your identity by yourself is less appropriate than coming open about your own identity by your teacher in front of
No, that is what not I'm saying.
It's not
Actually,
about appropriate, Trisha. It's about what makes it easier.
yeah, exactly. See, if you want to sue someone, that someone has you met with an accident with someone, what do you think is the better process? You just quarreling with that guy, fighting over him, or you going to the police and telling them that there is a problem? Because this police way is a more appropriate way, you see. So the similar thing I'm saying, it's not about not being courageous. You can always be courageous by going to the police
Just
also.
just
And
just
when you
answer
see
this question. That
if
when
you
the
see
school
the
teaches
stats of
me,
India,
Kritika, just a second. Yeah. So like Jay, answer this question.
yeah,
Like
yeah, sure.
it's like open to anyone who wants to answer this. That if my school teaches me that Tanuj, you don't have to be shy from your identity. If you yourself haven't discovered it yet, this is how you're supposed to do it, right? A basic procedure which is embedded in each and every education system, right? If a school allows me to experience or discover myself, my sexual orientation in particularly, right? On the other hand, when I go home and I have to face my rightist extremist father who tells me that this third gender thing is all bullshit, and everything like whatever this thing is happening in the school, it's definitely going to face a backlash in the like at my home, right? And you know what is going to be the consequence of this thing when the school
Okay, Tarun,
independently tries doing it? Like
See, that's
this
the
might
whole
lead to
point,
an
I
right?
got your
Tanuj,
point,
that
Tarun.
you're normalizing.
You're saying that when you
okay.
go home and your father says all these things to you, and you feel that it's not worth it. Okay, let me tell you this thing, that this schooling thing will actually create a sense of a light for that person who actually wants to some encouragement he wants. If the schooling thing is open, this encouragement thing is still on, and you consider
Do you
yourself.
think do you think a 6-year-old kid has that kind of ability and has that kind of intellect to discover that, to realize
Tanuj,
that what exactly his sexual orientation is?
So who?
Tanuj.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think so. 6-year-old kid should be taught about. I think around 12. You should.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so instead of going into technicalities, I would like to just put forth something. What all we have discussed, I would summarize it. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we have a generalized consensus that the generation which is above us, that is our parents and the society at a societal level in that generation, is a taboo against the LGBTQ community. Correct? We are all on the same page. So when you look at the school model, the principals, teachers, and all the administrative staff is composed of that generation only. then how can you expect that these people will come out of their general notions and then general taboo to the LGBTQ community and work for the
Exactly. Exactly. In my
Actually, what
how
in
can
my
you
seventh standard, teachers were hesitant to teach.
Vedant,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Vedant, as well as
let me
No,
complete.
no, 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 guys. This is not something the school
Let me complete, please,
has
please
the authority to.
let me complete, please let me complete, please let me complete. So basically, when a teacher is teaching, you cannot expect them to always be out of their, generalized notions and out of their what has been imbibed in their minds. You cannot expect a human being to be just like teach everyone out of their beliefs. So there will factor in the situation that.
But you're just
okay,
assuming,
Vedant,
You're
let me
literally
No,
all
but
your statements are
let
based on
me just
assumption. What
let me
if
just make
no
it
no
a
wait, just a second.
okay,
What
Kritika,
if Vedant just a second. What if
Yeah,
Vedant,
sure,
the
go
teacher
ahead.
who is teaching us and educating us, is somebody who supports that community? You never know that
Exactly.
there might be like 99 teachers supporting it and one teacher not supporting it. You're just assuming it.
I agree. Then
And
why
it's like
why in the
all
Vedant,
out and open.
I agree. But then why in the whole debate we are assuming that all of our parents won't accept it? Every parent in the society won't accept
Nobody
it.
said
Why are
that all of
why,
them won't accept it, but this is like the mentality of every Indian, parenthood
exactly?
that
You're saying that yourself. You're saying that
are
yourself.
you
Yeah.
Kritika, excuse me, Vedant. I want to make a point here. You said
Go
that
ahead, go ahead.
how can you say that a teacher would do it? Tell me one thing, Vedant.
exactly.
Tell me one thing, Vedant. Where did you read about dowry for the first time? Did your parent told you that dowry is wrong, or you read it in a book, or the teacher told you? Because we normally don't talk about dowry if at home. We don't just sit there and just talk about, okay, let's just discuss on dowry this time.
I actually watched a movie on dowry.
Okay, you watched the movie, but we're
Yeah.
comparing two things, man. We're comparing this parent thing and we're comparing this
Jay.
teacher thing.
No, listen, we are not comparing a parent thing and a teacher thing. We are comparing the school versus the societal norms here, right? Parents do comprise of the societal norms here.
No, Vedant.
Teachers also do.
Tanuj, Vedant just said that how can you actually be fully, secure that the teacher will do it or will not do it. I think, according to me, and most of us will agree that we read about all these things like sati pratha and other social evils like dowry system and caste
Sorry to
system.
interrupt, but have you guys watched Sex Education on the Netflix?
No, I
We
haven't.
have. I
The thing is that they hired a specific person for that job. You are saying that teachers might not educate them properly
Yeah,
because they have
exactly,
this
exactly.
backward theory. They have to hire special personnel for that, who are educated enough and open-minded enough for these
See,
topics.
Tanuj and Vedant, I want to make a point that if someone is teaching you something, that person has to be, major in that particular subject. If someone is teaching you sexual education, you don't hire any teacher to say to like just give you lectures on sex education.
Okay, but that still doesn't answer the question here. That how am I going to?
Tanuj, wait a second.
Okay,